I hope they're.
What's the line start with?
Nun
שבכוח זה. Yeah, I don't know what happened to all.
Okay, I got it.
There might be a whole bunch of people on the conference.
Akiva is there.
Huh?
Akiva is there. I heard somebody else called in. I don't know who is there.
Okay. I got it.
There are 5 people on the conference line, Rabbi Paltiel.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm not talking to the table.
You're talking to the ether.
All right, so we're starting on the line that begins Shebekoyer Zeh Yimud V'Yispalel. That's Anun Tes, approximately 10 lines from the bottom, 9 lines from the bottom. So we're going through the process that leads the Nefesh HaBahamis to higher and higher purity, higher and greater recognition of recognition and association and union with godliness. Starting off from the the complement for the world that makes the world a meaningful place, all the way to the point where he is actually interested in the Lakus itself, and he focuses on the Lakus, still on the Ha'orah. Because what we said this morning, that he's partaking of Gashmius only in order to be able to learn undoubtedly. So there, as we said, this is a great leap from everything else that we learned before. And the difference is that before there was some kind of a personal involvement, personal interest, personal experience in the Elokus that he's relying to, and now there is a dedication to revealing Elokus. Fulfill, so to speak, the godly will and command in as a result of using this koyach. This union, koyach zeh yimud v'yispalel, seems to be the pinnacle. But really, as we're going to see, this itself is still the Ha'orah. And we will learn the next phase, and then we'll be able to contrast to this union. Okay, okay, we have that, please.
Yeah.
And then from that he comes to an even higher madrega. Let me first, as we're going, I was pointing to make the point, but now we have to make it clearly this point. How does he come from this to a higher madrega? Madrega nalis yesir. This has to do with the principle of Daas, that we were emphasizing before. Seichel itself is not necessarily going to lead him to a different phase. He's going to be able to understand it more, broaden it out, but to reach and go up to something which is completely in a different realm, the seichel is not going to lead him to that. Daas will. Because Daas is that moment when one focuses in not on the greatness of what he understands, but on the reality of what one understands.
Again, not on the greatness, but on the reality.
On the reality. And when it comes to reality, there is a clear contrast. Ha'ora and Etz. So after that he experiences the Ha'ora to this fullest in essence, so then Bol Madriga is not Yesir, he comes to high Madriga.
Not, I must focus. This Das, it means that he can focus not on the greatness of what he understands, but on the reality. And then it was said, by this reality, there's a distinction between.
As we're going to say, this reality, this is the seeking of reality, not of greatness. This is what leads him. This enables what we call leap movement.
Yeah.
This is what it says. Come, Paul, Madriga Nali. I'm on the point. Okay, Madriga Nali. This is the first.
What is the Madriga that he's on right now?
What?
What is the Madriga that he's on right now that he's about to leap from?
We're going to see it. Just want to point. Bol Madriga Nalis Yeser. This expression, Bol Madriga Nalis Yeser, is the first time in this whole process, the first time that he ever uses this expression. Even though he was constantly going to a higher and higher Madriga. Except here, this is emphatically Madriga Nalis Yeser. Because this Madriga, as we're going to see, is in a different realm than everything else that we've experienced before. Let's get into this and we'll discuss this whole thing. So he comes to a higher madriga, Vehu, and that is she is boinein, that he will then reflect Eich on the phenomenon of the fact. He will focus in and say, what am I involved in? He will recognize Shakol Zeh, that this entire recognition that he has come to, and I use the word recognition very carefully. I didn't want to use the word experience because on less level there is no experience anymore. He is doing it. It's not a personal experience. But this is a recognition of the godly presence, of the godly truth. Shekol zeh, but all of that, hu ha'ora levad, is only a ha'ora.
Again, he recognizes that what he has is just a hara.
But he has recognized in the lukus is only a ha'ora. Gilu Lakus Ba'elam. That's a ha'or. That's the Lakus. As it is recognized in the world. Gilu Lakus Ba'elam means that the world is a world. And there's a Gilu Lakus Ba'elam, that through the world there is a Gilu Lakus. What's mean Gilu Lakus? This is all a ha'or.
Excuse me. When he was like first time around, before he got to this Madriga, when he was saying that the Ikurahu or Lakus and so on and so forth, wasn't it outside of the realm of the world? That he was focusing on the...
No, because when you get Huha Lakus, which are Lakus?
That's...
The Lakus that is revealed to the world. But the next thing you can the weekend is the Elokus. Let me give you a little bit of a hand on this. It's simplistic, but it's accurate. A table is built from physical material, and it has all kinds of different things. It has craftsmanship, and it has excellence in terms of how it is structured, how it stands, and so forth. All kinds of different qualities that are expressed through the material. Then there is, as we say all the time, the human element in this. What makes it into a table? The form, the four legs. You explain how the table is really an expression of the midas hamalchus in a human being. A table is not a functional utility. You follow what I'm saying? Not a functional utility. Oh, it's very usable, it's very useful. That's not what it is. This is the key element in the table. That really, one has to, like you said, this is what you said before. He has to focus on the elokus. What is this about? Is it the convenience, the utility, or there is something which is a superior quality? People sit around the table because of a much higher element than the comfort, the convenience.
So the rabbi?
And this is what he begins to focus, to identify. That is still only hard. And let us continue in this vein, in this motion. Yes, the human being is something that has this quality, which is, I said, the midas hamalchus, the reality. But what is the actual reality of the human being, of the nefesh? Why does he have this malchus?
What does he have? What?
Why does he have this malchus quality? That is the real human being. The real human being, as we say this, has tzelem elikim. If you really want to get to know the human being, it is not through his manifestations, which is only ha'ara. And it's wonderful manifestations. Midas teves, seichel. But what does it really stand for? He said, Tzelem Elikim, he really, so to speak, represents the godly reality in the world. Like we said yesterday, we talked about Daas. The whole world matters to him. And it matters to him because of it's a much higher element than his involvement in the world. It's because it's real. Like we said, the concept of the world should dissipate into nothingness suddenly, without any suffering. Does that bother him? It will be devastating, the thought itself. Why? Because there's an etzem, there's an essence there. That's human being. That is way beyond anything that we identified so far.
Just when you say the godly presence in the world, that fits. That's not a ha'ara at that point.
That, not, that, this is the essence. That's what it said. Why does it bother? I'm talking about the emotional human being. Why does it bother him, this thought? Why can he fathom this thought? Nobody suffers. Because we talk about suffering and enjoyment, which is all ha'ara. It's beautiful. It's great. This is beyond ha'ara.
And somehow this from beyond ha'ara impacts the world. Like world.
Doesn't impact anything. It's just it brings the world, it gives the world a true godly reality. This is what God wants.
Can we correlate it to the nimshal what we just went through? I remember saying inside that oil, Chayus and oil, right?
You know what, Abraham? Let's hold that to because this is all. I'm just to introduce the next step over here, and then we can maybe broaden it out. I just wanted that we should understand. Okay, so he's mizboinen. Afterwards, he comes to be mizboinen. Eich shekol zeh. Eich again. Eich means of the phenomena. Shekol zeh, that all of this that he has realized thus far, who ha'ora levad is only ha'ora. V'tzorich lirtzois, and it is imperative, it is necessary to want bebchinas ha'atzmos, the aspect of atzmos, in the element of atzmos itself. Atzmos, how does atzmos affect the world? Atzmos is not functional in the world. And he comes to realize this nefesh habamis, after going through this the seichel process, he comes to realize tzorich litzit b'chinas ha'atzmos. It is right. It is necessary to want the atzmos element, which means way beyond anything that I can experience. One second. V'hainu, which is b'ho'elakus shebeteiro mitzvahs. So the chlitza is you have to want the elakus that is embedded and contained in the Torah mitzvahs. This we'll need to elaborate. Let me just go through this for a second. Okamesha kosu. As the Pasuk says, Vayorem keren leyamah. Vayorem means, and he lifted keren, the base. The keren is the translation of the word keren means a horn, but it means also a base. Leyamah for his nation. Hashem has given his nation a complete superior presence. The koydem lo zeh imer. Before this, it says Ki yizgo shmei levad, Ki yizgo shmoi, that his name is supreme. And hoydoi aleret v'shmoi, only his name is supreme. Really, is not in the world. Hoydoi aleret v'shmoi, only a hoyd. Hoyd means the glory of his name is aleret v'shmoi, as in the earth and the heaven. Bechinas ha'ora de ha'ora levad, that which is manifest in the world is only ha'ora de ha'ora. Shmoi is a ha'ora, and this is hoid of the Shem, which was ha'ora de ha'ora, not the etzem Ava yorem keren leyamoi, but the name for yorem keren leyamoi, this lift that he gave to his nation, Bechinas hamshocho atzmiyus. This is the hamshocho atzmiyus. Okay, we'll continue after we discuss this a little bit. But this is, as I said, this is altogether outside of the realm of the Nefesh HaBamis.
What's outside the realm?
This whole thing is outside the. It's not an experiential thing. The essential stance of Nefesh HaBamis is experience. But by the process that we've described, with his seichel and then Daas, he can actually reach the point that v'tzorich lirtzos. Whether he can reach to that point actually or not it remains a question at this moment. But he came to the realization that what is the reality itself, what should I want, is not a ha'ora but atzmos. That is the real reality. Tzorich lirtzos b'atzmos.
He's saying he realizes that he needs to change his orientation actually.
Yeah, well, I said, just let me, this is all half-sided statements. Tzorich lirtzos b'atzmos, b'chinas ha'atzmos. That's a notion, b'chinas ha'atzmos. But tzorich lirtzos b'chinas ha'atzmos. He is essentially in the world. As we said before, that there is muchram, he is mukhrach in the world. But, despite that he is mukhrach in the world, he will not focus on the worldly experience, but rather what he can use it for. Potato v'aveda. Potato with tefillah. What does he get out of Torah tefillah? Torah tefillah, this is the Eibushal's will. Therefore, he is already beyond the ha'or of the world. This is the Elokus as it is in the Elokus itself. Nevertheless, this is also still on the ha'or, because this is how Elokus relates to him and to the world. In the world, how do you relate to the Elokus world? By Torah and Tefillah. Then he comes to a higher level. That he says that altogether, so the Chliyish Litzus bebechinas ha'atzmos. What does bechinas ha'atzmos mean? There is all kinds of manifestations in the world of the greatness and the beauty and the goodness of Atzmos. And that is quite enticing for the Nefesh HaBamis. That is not only enticing, it's quite a madrega. But it comes to the realization that no, I'm not really focused on the reality and the truth itself. I'm focused on the truth as it is meaningful to me. What is the appropriate thing? is to want the Atzmus aspect. Bechinus means the aspect. This is the best way that we can kind of focus in on this is on this question that I said before. What would be the reaction of the Nefesh Abamis if we suggest that the world should cease to exist? What would happen if the world would cease to exist? Let's think about it. As I said, every person says, no. Generally speaking, not everyone, but generally a person who's involved in a Avodas Hashem says, no, that's an unfathomable thing. Why not?
Because we sense that whatever could be expressed through the world, that's not it.
Right. So
What
is
was
it
the
between
statement
so
that was
often?
right?
What?
I didn't hear what you said, Avram.
Rome said that whatever can be expressed by the world is not it.
It's not what?
It's not that nakuda. That's not what would be missing. So it's expressed or not expressed. Anything that is dependent on being expressed, so when it's not being expressed, it's not being expressed. It has a state where it is expressed and not expressed. What's so tragic?
But but it's a vicious cycle, because if it wants to be, Atmos wants to be expressed.
Shmuel, you come once a week, I'm not going to answer you. You're not even involved in what we learn. I'm sorry. Please sit in. You can't just mention. You don't even know what we're talking about. Take it from me. Try to listen. That's the stamp of the wise man, please. So what is this Bechinas Atzmus? And I said, this is a realization on the part of the Nefesh Abamis that is completely beyond the Nefesh Abamis domain.
What is the what of the Nefesh Abamis?
This is a stance, a
Yeah.
realization of Nefesh Abamis that's completely beyond the Nefesh Abamis domain. Why we call it Nefesh Abamis? Because he is primarily involved in personal experience. Maybe very fine experience, but still a personal experience. Bechinas Atzmus does not lend itself to personal experience.
I think in following the Nefesh Abamis is going beyond his personal experience and some of the steps of how to get there, the leap or the Daas what we encountered. I don't know, and I don't know if it's key. This piece about the world being destroyed, not being destroyed. I don't know how if that's illustrating this mood. I don't know what that's adding.
I'll tell you. This is my own means of kind of focusing our attention to a certain principle. Okay, the principle that I'm trying to do is this. This whole thing is seichel of nefesh abamis, which means that this is the seichel that all of us have access to. Not a seichel nefesh elikis that you have to be on the high madrig in order to identify with it, to identify it. Something nefesh abamis. Except that we do not really normally realize it, recognize it, because we're involved in the world, involved in worldly experiences. You don't realize it. So that's why sometimes you ask a question that doesn't make any sense in the world. And I said the world will say, let it go to pot, what's the difference? For some reason, our Seichel Nefesh Habani says no, we're not accepting that.
So we're pointing out how our own Nefesh Bahamas, which you may think is limited to a worldly context, is bringing a mandate or a question
Right.
that is super worldly.
That's
yeah?
right.
Okay.
That's right. That's I'm saying. To what extent we understand the way, but this is our reaction. I can fathom such a thought. Why not? Not because I'm going to be missing anything. Like we said the other day, the Goy answered, why do you eat? So that I would live. So we explained that this is really a phenomenal statement on the part of a Goy. He did not say, I eat so that I won't be hungry. He said, so that I would live. What's in life? What's in life for him? So I would live.
Drinking water.
In life, so I would live. I explained yesterday, but today, over these days, I remember exactly. When you say life, that means that you recognize that there is a reality of life, and you want to be part of that reality. This is how I would live.
Mm-hmm.
This is the addict statement of the idiot, of the great idiot that says he wants to survive just to be, is a stupid statement. There's no such desire to be.
Mm-hmm.
Wants to live because there is life.
This is how I want to live. Why isn't this Nefesh HaSichli? It seems like Nefesh Bahami would just, eat because it's hungry.
Oh, so that's the point. Here's a story from a guy. Okay, it's conceivable there will be a guy that is below that guy. Okay, conceivable. But he would eat only because he's hungry, just like the dog next door.
Yeah, that's a behemoth.
That's a behemoth mamish.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, this guy who was driving the horse lived in a normal human society. So he appreciated life. He saw that there is life.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I want to eat so that I would live. But he was able to appreciate it, which means he was able to recognize that there is a life in the world.
That's not a sichli statement, Nefesh HaSichli saying that?
This is Nefesh HaSichli is part of Nefesh HaBatis.
Okay.
Nefesh HaSichli is how you understand the world.
Okay.
You take the world with Seichel, but it's not Seichel Nefesh HaSichli, it's Nefesh HaBatis. I want to live. Okay, that's a statement of Nefesh HaBatis.
Mm.
So he recognized that there is life in the world. So there is something there that he's relating to.
The statement of what's going to happen if the world gets destroyed, that's not I want to live. That's
No.
something higher.
No, I'm saying there is nothing. Like we're saying over here, Tzorich litzis b'bchinas ha'atzmos. Tzorich litzis. He doesn't even say that he wants. He doesn't say Tzorich litzis. He comes to realization that Tzorich litzis b'bchinas ha'atzmos. That I'm fooling myself. Because all of this that I'm saying, I want to live and all that, I'm still speaking about my personal experience, my personal likes.
What about davening and learning Torah?
Davening and learning Torah is also an experience. Except it's a ruchnic experience. It's not eating the food for the sake of the food, but saying that you will be able to daven and learn. But Yitzis Bebchinas or Atzmus is a different realm.
Over here, he's not saying that he's actually there. He's just saying that he realizes this is what he should actually want.
That's right. That would be closer to the truth, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. We said that's a leap.
It's a quantum leap.
And Daas is involved there.
Okay, now it is the Daas that enables it, that leads him to that. Because I explained right before. Okay, do I have you with me? Seichel explains what you are observing, what you see. Das gives you a completely different sense. Das is the presence of the reality itself. Das means that not I'm seeing Elokus everywhere. I am part of Elokus. That's Das. Once he recognized, he goes with Das, which means that now he begins to focus on not on what do I understand, what do I like, what greatness do I identify, what truth I identify, but what truth I relate to. Das. Okay, let me jump back a little bit. I hope I don't lose you. Just want to explain. Where do we get Das from? Seichel, we understand. I see something, so I understand what I'm seeing. I examine it. What is Das? Das means not that I understand and I know. I am mamash experience. I'm experience it. It's called Chassidus. It's called hergish. I'm part of it. How do I get to be part of it?
You are.
Right. This means you are. Please understand. You are. The Rebbe can see you as part of it. I can see you as part of it. But you are looking at it. Where is it? Das. Okay, again, let's step back. These koiches of koiches chochma, bina, v'das are phenomenal koiches, but these are koiches pnimiyim. Pnimi means I'm aware of them. Aware means I know it, which means it is not. There's not what encompasses me. This is what I encompass. So where does Das come from?
Keeping.
Davon comes from Makif. How do we get this Makifi?
Keeping.
I just want to make one statement, okay? How Das brings us smack in the middle of this reality. How? Because it is this reality that made us. We started from there.
Sorry, I missed this one statement you want to make. Because what?
How do I identify with this reality? How do I come to know this reality? how to become part of it. It is this reality that made me in the first place. This is where I'm coming from. Except that then I have koiches pnimim, and I want to know and understand and why and see what there is. And there I'm kind of looking at it as an outsider. But I'm not. But I started off as an insider because that's where I came from. Again, this is so important to understand. Seichel is as an insider's quality, not an outsider's, not not really, something that you learn by trial and error, by examination. Seichel is something which is real, that because you are really part of the reality. So there is Chochma Bina, like we said, we always explain what is Chochma. Chochma is you observe. And we always have the question, how can you observe in one instant an entire panorama? How is that possible? Please stay with me. How is it possible to observe a whole panorama in one instant? The answer is that you're observing, you realize that this panorama has a source, has a base that's maintaining it, that's showing it. That's what you recognize. How do you recognize it? Because really, you are inside this. Except Chochma does not really identify that element, but it sees it. And when it comes down to Daas, that is exactly what you are really recognizing. I said this morning, the other day, I said, you look through a window and you see in the room and you see that the floor is dirty. And he said, it's not a very pleasant sight, but it doesn't really bother you. But then if you're inside the room and you're also experiencing, recognizing all the things in the room, but the floor is dirty, it bothers you. Even though your relation to the floor practically is the same thing as looking at it from outside. You're not sitting on the room, you're on the floor, you're not eating from the floor, you're standing. You're sitting on a chair. You're sitting on a chair and the floor under the table is dirty and it bothers you. So it's nothing to do with your experience. This is called Daas. You're actually absorbing, and the whole reality is represented in your mind. It's real in your mind. And so Daas brings a person to seek and to relate to the reality itself, not what makes sense, what's beautiful, what's great, but to the truth itself. Where does the greatness come from? It comes from Beis. Not only where his greatness comes from, but how come there is such thing as greatness altogether? It's because there is a presence of God, the presence in the world. I pointed out, will I have you with me so far? Yeah?
This greatest threw me off because we were just talking about some. Look.
No. It's many times I veer off a little bit to a mashal, to a demonstration. I pointed out there's a halacha. The halacha is that a Talmid Chacham, you have to be mechamed Talmid Chacham. Right? You have to be mechamed a Rav, Talmid Chacham, a teacher, you have to be mechamed. So but that applies in a mokim mechubot. If you're not in a mokim mechubot, if you're in a bathhouse in a shower room, there's no kovet. Why? Because there the whole idea of learning Torah doesn't apply. You can be mechabed him because he's an elderly person, but it's not the same thing at all. You know, what's in a moki mechubed, there is such thing as kovet. Everything has to be related to the reality around it. Where does this whole greatness not only come from? What gives it a reality? What gives it a presence? It is a presence of Atzmos. It's nothing that I understand, nothing that I experience. And this is what he comes to realize. Forget about your experience, forget about your elevation, personal experience. You have to desire the bechina of Atzmos and nothing more. Because that's the real truth. So I used all kinds of different human experiences that show that the human being really has that quality. Different moments. Not something that he lives with on a constant basis, but if you push against the wall, yes, I realize that. This is what a human being is. Human being is really an atzmi, is a real presence. And so the chiyus is b'chinas of atzmos. That is within reach what happens to the nefesh habahamis. Through the sake of nefesh habahamis, the nefesh habahamis comes to realize this. Started up with Taivas Kashmir. And then going through and saying, yeah, why do I want to eat? Because I want to live. Oh, life. Oh, wait a second. What's that about? Now there is a seichel element. There is life. And that leads him further and further and further until he comes to realize that he wants the likus in everything. The life element in everything. Not the gashmi. But the life element. Until he comes to the point that this is still only a ha'orah, v'tzorich lirshis b'finas ha'atzmos. Whether he ever reaches that madrega, it's a separate question. But he sees, that's the real thing. That's the real God.
And you're saying it's the Daas in the previous madrigas that brings him to this?
It is, well, yes, but I'm saying more than that. It is the Daas that leads him from madrega to madrega. It is the Daas that leads him from madrega to madrega. Seichel alone will not lead him any place.
What does Daas have to do with his blindness?
His bonus reveals a Daas. From his bonus, it comes to that to be said before. He is boinen, and then he comes to Hamokas Adah because in his bonus he realizes, hey, this is reality. I really sense it's I really recognize it's true, it's reality. And he's misboinen b'Hamokas Hadas. With his Das, he's boinen in the singing. When he's boinen in the singing in Hamokas Hadas, then he becomes a participant in the singing. Once he becomes a participant in the singing, the emphasis becomes not on how great and beautiful it is, but how true it is. How real it is.
I mean, this is a stupid question. But just like before we were saying about the chokhmah, right? That the chokhmah is seichel b'chlal, koach seichel. They are derivative of truth. They are. You use some words to say it like that. They are like whatever. I don't remember how you said it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you said, so what's a chokhmah? You said it's like a sight, right? So how come you see all this stuff? Because you see it as it is in its source, right? So how does that not bring it to what it is? And the Daas does, like we said Daas will bring you, not chokhmah.
When you're observing something and it's beautiful, that does not demand that you should find where is this beauty come from. I'm enjoying the beauty itself. Huh?
Well, you say that the beauty itself,
I'm enjoying the beauty itself.
rather than
Rather than
That's the
where does
fact
it
that
come
you
from?
built
What's behind it? How come there's such beauty?
We said that the chokhmah is like what I'm sorry, am I cutting you?
no.
The chokhmah is like what you're being shown, right? We said.
Right.
So isn't
But you're being shown, yes, Chochmah realizes that, and this is how come it ultimately ends up in Das. But the show itself is not in Chochmah. Chochmah is what it observes. But then you come to Das and say, hey, there's a reality behind this.
This word ha'amokas is not used for anything except das. Is that true?
Amokas hadas, right.
I understand,
Amokas
but
hadas. Deep
the word,
in
the
Das.
expression ha'amokas,
Right,
we don't find this word with chokhmah and not with bina,
right,
only with das.
right.
This is like this is the process of coming to das is mamik.
Right, coming to Das is mamik, means, what does Amokas hadas mean? I sense something. Okay? So, how come I sense it? That's Amokas hadas.
Could you go through that one more time?
How come
I
I
sense-
sense it? Das is not a seichel process. That
Das,
does
in
not-
other words, he has the sense, he has the hargasha,
Right,
and now he's going into that hargasha.
right.
How come I have that hargasha?
Yes. What am I march? This is the expression in the Maimah which you pointed out. Eich. Eich. Normally in Seichel you don't say Eich. In Seichel you say is what? The that.
And eich means how?
Oh. Eich means how. And I explained what is the word how over here. The word how here does not mean that you're trying to figure out how things work. Let's read this morning. How means you means more than in the phenomenon of this element. In the fact of it. Let's make it this way.
so then that itself, when you say that you see the whole side, right? And then you ask, how come do I see this whole side? That's called Hamok Sadas?
Well, after you realize that this phenomenon of seeing it is a phenomenal thing,
Right.
then Das wakes up. Oh, I see. Yeah, I see it. Why do I see it? Because I'm in it. Because there's a reality behind it. That's what I see. This is not the sight itself, the experience of the sight. Yes, sir.
Rabbi.
In this generation, for a man to say, I'm eating because I'm hungry, is already considered a mila. The average person, or at least many persons, many people nowadays will say, I eat because I'm stressed out. I'm eating because I like this, the taste of this cuisine. Okay? Never mind getting to the level of saying, I'm eating to live. People's minds are so numbed, they can't even, that's already considered a milish of a mila.
Great. So what should we do with that, Shmuel? What should we do with that information?
It has to be, I don't know, but it has to be said.
Well, fine.
This
But
is,
Shmuel.
it is, it
No,
is
no,
like,
that's
it's
not
like,
to be said. So what do we do with that information?
I'm asking you to be patient
With you?
with me.
I'm all patience. All I said to you is that you have to know what we're talking about before, because you weren't here the whole time. You're learning this for 2 weeks.
I follow on the videos.
All right, fine. So
And if I can't jump it, I have.
now this is so. Then you could follow. You're very welcome. I have no problem at all. But stay with it for a while. Stay with it. Then you'll know what we're talking about. Yes, you have this point. This point would be entirely in order when we first when we started this whole discussion 2 weeks ago.
Halavai Nefesh Bahamas. We had a whole class on it.
What?
The Halavai Nefesh
Halvai
Bahamas.
Shaban? 2 weeks ago we
We had a whole
discussed it right here in class. Somebody said Halvai Nefesh Shaban.
Yeah.
You just.
So the thing is like this. Just as we're saying over here, we came to this pinnacle. We said to the point where the Nefesh Abamis does not say, I want, but says, Tzorich nirtzis. So, Tzorich nirtzis, that is something which, even in this generation, is something that can be realized at Tzorich nirtzis. You're a living human being. You're not an animal. The minimum you could say, yes, I should want a human quality. I should want to experience, to live like a human being other than an animal. I should want it, whether I can, at least I should want it.
I'm making a really outside question on this. I think. Here's the avoda that's going on with the Nefesh Bahamas,
Right.
and he's limited by his own, he's limited by his perceptions. But a person also has a Nefesh Elokis. In other words, why does the person not switch to the part, so to speak, that relates to all of this? In other words,
There are moments, there are occasions where even a Bainani, we're talking about a Bainani, okay? Bainani is this person who can have these huge fluctuations, can be purely in Nefesh Elokis. But he did not. The Alter Rebbe explains in time like this, that it's tzaddik with toivloi, tzaddik with tzaddik with toivloi, and tzaddik with tzaddik. What is the basic quality of a tzaddik? Very basic, the tzaddik v'rali on the minimum level.
no yitzhar.
That he has affected the Nefesh Abamis somewhat. Affected it, he's changed it. That's what he says. He still may have Rala, he still have Ra, but he has limited it. He has minimized it. Some of the Ra he has eliminated. If he eliminates some of the Ra, he is Superman. Don't forget, he is part of this world. This is his daily reality, constant reality. All of a sudden, he goes into a different realm. His reality is godliness. You eliminate somewhat. He says the maxis. He never says how much could be bottle of shishim, bottle they may. That's a Superman. That's a tzaddik today. It's not even a Beinoni anymore. A Beinoni, the Alter Rebbe says clearly, yes, he can reach very high madrigas in davening. He can have ahava v'yirah. We don't appreciate what that means. Ahava v'yirah. Ahava v'yirah means a true sense of a godly presence, of a godly experience. Not I would like Torah years. I would like to have it. That's not Shabbat. That's not I would like to have it. Ahava v'yirah means it's actually burning up with ahava. That's what it means. So Beinoni could be.
What was Yehuda's question that you're responding to with this?
I mean, it wasn't that clearly stated, but in other words, we're talking all about the Veda of the Nefesh Bahamas and the struggles that it has to reach these madrigas, but yet he has another part of him, the Nefesh Alakis, that does naturally relates to these things. Sort of, why doesn't he just switch into the other one?
Right. You know? So I explained that occasionally he does, but that does not really change him.
Right.
Occasionally he does. And explain the madriga of ahava v'yirah that the Beinoni has in davening is truly a very, very fine, very high madriga. Because, like we're saying over here, to have ahava v'yirah to a lukus, you have to be completely free of any interest in Gashmis in the world.
This is the Veda of the Nefesh Bahamas. Is mamish to change the Nefesh Bahamas? This is what we're talking about?
The Nefesh Alakis, that can only happen by the Nefesh Alakis.
So what is this?
But even when he has that, it doesn't change the Nefesh HaBahamas.
No, nothing doesn't change it. He comes to this point, he comes to the station of Tzorich Yirtzis. That's a great statement. And at that point, the Nefesh Alakis can come and pull it out. You cannot step out from your reality on your own.
But then when he's finished davening, he goes right back to that reality.
That's what he says. It goes at the Beinoni who had ahava v'yirah. It goes back and it goes out of davening. The Alter Rebbe makes a very clear statement. Ki'ilu loy hispalel klal.
Sounds so crazy. He's undergoing this thing that seems so Herculean. I mean,
It is Herculean and it's wonderful and it's great. And the truth is, yes, he gets refined. It's definitely gets refined. There is a big difference. There are members who's learned this, and there are members who never learned this. I always mention, if you understand these things for one instant, you're a different person. But you're a different person. You have idea of something superior, something much more fun. So here, the Nefesh Abamis, as a result of this, his bonus, Amokas Daas, he came to the realization that really all this, I'm fooling myself. So the atzmos. That is what the reality is. Without that, you are standing on the side and you're imagining things. Yes, ha'ara, it's beautiful, it's great, but it's all imaginary.
Why is that? Why is the ha'ara? The ha'ara is why is the ha'ara imaginary?
Because you are not it. Yes, you understand it and you see it, but it's not it. You're not it. So he's within Zwatzmus.
Oh, the nefesh Bahamas is not it.
Right.
It stands outside of all these things. The nefesh al-kish mamas is it.
Yeah.
It's like saying the nefesh Bahamas, tzarech lirtzos, it wants to be nefesh al-kish.
That is what should be. That, he doesn't want.
He doesn't want.
He doesn't want.
That's
That
the
is
way,
what
right.
should want. That is the reality, yes. This is what Daas. Daas is a phenomenal koyach. When a person recognizes, it's called hergish, it recognizes the reality itself. It's not necessarily what he sees. And there is such thing as reality. Things are not just what I experience, but there is a reality.
Sorry, what is this? You said
That there
Daas?
is a reality. That's Das.
this is mamish. What we just explained tonight. This is mamish Mesiras Nefesh of the Nefesh Bahamas. This is what we started to talk about. This is B'chol Ma'odcha.
This, right, this is, I'm not going to say this now, but because he's, when he says, Torah Tris, the beginning of Atmos, you're giving up completely your own experience. Okay, we'll still go in there. Okay, so have a great evening. To the convenience tomorrow.
In davening, it says like in Birkus Kriya Shema that he's saying all of this about the Malachim, and it's explained in Chassidus that this is sort of talking almost to the Nefesh Bahamas, because it's talking about in davening in Birkus Kriya Shema, when he's talking about the Malachim, when he's saying about the Malachim, this is like talking for the benefit of the Nefesh Bahamas, because he's explaining. This is all about what the Shirish.
Right.
But what, in other words, this is something that the Nefesh Bahamas does not relate to. I mean, this is not its own experience. No. This is.
It is if you reflect on it. As we are seeing now, the Nefesh Bahamas is not that done. And when you go to the essence of the Malach, who has the same nature as Nefesh Bahamas, but on a higher level, look what the Malach is saying.
That's part of the seichel. The Nefesh Bahamas can actually relate to it.
Okay.
Yeah.